Now, Brazil is drafting in the army in its fight against the Zika virus, a mosquito-borne disease that's blamed for causing serious birth defects in thousands of babies. More than 200,000 troops are being deployed to hand out information leaflets and advice. The government is also promising to distribute insect repellent to at least 400,000 women who receive welfare benefits. Now, in Rio de Janeiro, extra precautions are being taken ahead of the annual carnival celebrations, now less than a fortnight away. Workers have been fumigating the famous Sambadrome, officials insisting that people who come to watch the parades won't be at a greater risk than normal.
The Zika virus has to be treated independently. It will spread. We've seen in colder countries where they had dengue fever that they're now also contracting Zika. The virus has also been found in Europe where the conditions are not in its favour. But I guarantee that the conditions now in Rio de Janeiro are much better than they were 4 years ago.
So just how dangerous is the Zika virus, and where are we with a treatment or a vaccine? To answer those questions and more, let's bring in Dr. Jan-Cedric Hansen, who is a specialist in this area. Thanks very much for being with us, Dr. Hansen. Now, the biggest fear relating to the Zika virus is the impact it has on unborn babies. Can you tell us a bit more about what impact the Zika virus has on people who contract it?
Well, one thing to know is today there is no scientific proof that the spread of the Zika virus is related to the abnormality that has been found in the newborns. But so right now it is just an assumption that there is a link, and it's more an epidemiological link than really a scientific link. But what we found on the babies are abnormal central nervous system malfunctions and small heads. The problem is there is no standard definition of what would be a small brain. So microcephalia, which means small brain. So it is quite difficult to analyze all the data. The second thing is 90% of the people suffering from the Zika infection actually feel only a mild fever symptoms or maybe nothing. So it is quite difficult to identify the virus and make sure that there's a true link between the virus infection and the malfunction or malformations that has been found in the babies.
Of course,
that's the first point.
Of course, it does take time to prove those sorts of links, and people certainly are worried. There certainly have been a lot of babies born with conditions that doctors consider to be abnormal. A lot of people asking why there's no treatment or vaccine for the Zika virus. Are we likely to see one anytime soon?
Yeah, okay. So there is no virus so far, because so far the Zika virus was considered as a mild and harmless virus. People would only undergo some minor flu symptoms, so nothing really to worry about. Now, we have this outburst of babies' malformations that are very, very worrying. There is a possibility that there is a link with the virus, but we are not sure yet. One of the reasons is there's no mechanism that is simple and makes sense to explain the infection and the baby's central nervous system malfunction that is found in some babies. And there might be many other confounding factors on confounding reasons, but it is likely that there is a link. The trouble is how to detect the virus in the blood of the mothers or in newborns. It is quite difficult to identify this virus right now. There is not enough material reactive reagents to make the detection. So only a very small part of cases are actually, there's only 8 formally identified cases in the world right now. See, it's not much to draw conclusions anyway.
Indeed, while we wait for these conclusions for potential drugs, Brazil is certainly taking some precautions, handing out information, insect spray. They're fumigating the Sambadrome. How effective do you think those are going to be against mosquitoes? Are there other measures they should be taking, like clearing up stagnant water where mosquitoes are breeding?
Absolutely. It is very important. It is important to do with the chikungunya. Chikungunya was a virus that has been controlled so far because everybody was fighting against the mosquito, which is the vector of the virus. And chikungunya is a very close virus to the Zika virus. So killing the mosquitoes, preventing mosquito bites with repellents and bed nets and things like that is very important. And removing all stagnant water is in the human environment is very critical. Right now, up to date, those are the only efficient measure to take, definitely. There's no treatment, no vaccines available right now.
And just briefly, the World Health Organization has said that Zika is likely to spread throughout the entire continent. We know it is present in more than 20 territories already. Argentina reporting a case today. If any of our viewers are pregnant and they're going to the Americas, or they are there already, what kind of advice might you give to them?
Well, if you have no choice but to go or to leave over there, then definitely make sure that your pregnancy is supervised by a doctor. But we know it could be very, very difficult from some remote area of people who do not have access to healthcare system survey. But definitely being pregnant should benefit from critical care from the doctors over there. The second very concerning point is that it has already reached the remote European countries' territories in the Caribbean area. And due to exchange of people, exchange of commercial goods between those areas, and because the mosquito, the tiger mosquito, Aedes mosquito, who is quite widely presented in Europe around the Mediterranean Sea and in Northern Europe, the Zika virus may spread in Europe quite easily. And there's very little we can do for that so far. So that's a concern.
Indeed. Well, thank you very much for speaking to us, Dr. Jan-Cedric Hansen from the French Society for Disaster Medicine.